Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're setting aside the usual lyrical analysis. We're getting into something much more raw.
Definitely. We're talking street conflict, physical confrontation.
Exactly. We're diving deep into the decade-long Cold War between Tru Life and the entire Dipset crew. This ran from about, 2005 to 2017?
Roughly, yeah. And like you said, this wasn't your typical diss track exchange. The sources paint a picture of, frankly, street warfare. Calculated humiliation.
It really was. It felt like a campaign.
It is systemic. Our sources really lay out how one guy, Tru Life, coming from the Lower East Side, methodically went after this huge Harlem collective.
Using everything, right. Chain snatching, straight-up ambushes, even like early digital attacks.
Yeah, the psychological stuff, too. It was relentless.
So our mission here is to unpack these sources, figure out how Tru Life became this Puerto Rican boogeyman figure to Dipset, one of the biggest movements in hip-hop at the time. And just for everyone listening, to be crystal clear on who we're discussing, it's Cameron.
Right.
And Tru Life.
Got that. And that core dynamic is key. You had Tru Life, who was aligned with Rockefeller.
Jay-Z's camp.
Exactly. And he seemed determined to show that, street power, physical dominance could actually outweigh celebrity status. It moved beyond lyrics almost instantly.
Okay, so let's get into the roots. This whole thing was so nasty because it started with, apparently, a personal betrayal involving Jim Jones, primarily.
That seems to be the flashpoint. Tru Life and Jim Jones actually had a history. Tru Life was even on Jones's 2004 mixtape, track called Redaws.
Right, I remember that. So they worked together.
It did. But then, according to Tru Life's side, Jones wouldn't sign him, wouldn't really help his career. And then the big one, Jones allegedly blocked a deal involving Jojo Capone.
Ooh, okay. That's heavy, blocking moves.
For Tru Life, that wasn't just business. That was, deep disloyalty, betrayal.
And then that was a specific street incident that kind of lit the fuse for real violence.
Yeah, the sources talk about this encounter where Jones asked Tru Life to step out of his car looking for someone else. Tru Life apparently read that immediately as cowardice, like Jones was hiding behind street protocol because he was scared. That personal slight, that's what seemed to demand a physical response.
And that response led straight into the chain snatching era, which back then was like the ultimate public shaming.
Totally. So in 2006, Tru Life starts calling Dipset members bitches in interviews. Jones fires back publicly, challenges Tru Life to a straight-up fist fight for 50 grand.
A public challenge, $50,000 cash.
Yeah, but Tru Life wasn't playing by those rules. He didn't want a fair fight.
No boxing gloves here.
Not at all. He went straight for the robbery, specifically targeting Jim Jones's chains. He took the Dipset pendant.
The main piece, the absolute symbol of the crew.
The audacity is just...
Wow.
And there were specific accounts, right, that Jones was allegedly knocked out during a video shoot?
By one of Tru Life's younger guys, apparently.
That's the report,
Right.
And they took his pinky ring. Tru Life supposedly held on to that ring for years, like a trophy.
It's just brutal. But taking the jewelry wasn't even the end of it. The psychological warfare was maybe even more damaging.
Oh, absolutely. He didn't just steal the chain, he publicly degraded it. He claimed he listed Jones's stolen stuff on eBay.
On eBay. For how much?
For $10,000. For a piece worth way more.
That's not about money. That's pure humiliation, making it look cheap.
Exactly. Turning this symbol of status into, pawn shop junk. It was designed to completely undercut Jones's image, show he was vulnerable.
And then came the Tru York mixtape cover.
Yeah,
that image. Jim Jones's head, photoshopped onto a body, wearing that bright green Borat mankini thing. In the mid-2000s hip-hop scene, that was nuclear.
Unprecedented, really. Diss tracks fade, right? But a picture like that, passed around on mixtapes on the street, that sticks. It was aimed right at his manhood, his standing.
Pure emasculation. And all this buildup, the threats, the robbery, the mixtape cover, it led to the Brooklyn Bridge incident.
The sources describe it as a straight-up ambush. Tru Life and his crew, the global gangsters, they apparently set up Jim Jones and Jules Santana.
And Jones reportedly got knocked out again. Another ring taken.
That's the account. And the detail that really stands out, Jules Santana allegedly ran and locked himself in his Bentley while it was going down.
Wow. Okay, that speaks volumes. If true, that shows the level of fear Tru Life's crew was projecting. They were organized, and they were getting results.
Scattering Dipset's top guys.
So once Jim Jones was, handled in this very public and humiliating way, the focus naturally shifted. It had to go to the main face of Dipset, Cameron.
Right. And Cam initially kind of escalated it himself, didn't he? He sent J.R. Writer, one of his main lyricists, after Tru
I
Life.
called him Little Jim. That's a direct insult.
Definitely. And then he brought Jay-Z into it, dissing Tru Life's mentor with that camel on a camel line.
Which basically forced Tru Life's hand, right?
Yeah.
He's Jay-Z's protege at Rockefeller. An attack on Jay is an attack on the whole camp.
Exactly. It turned from personal beef into, like, defending the label's honor. Institutional warfare, almost.
And that led to probably the most talked about physical clash. The Club Stereo incident. May 2007. This wasn't some back alley thing.
No, this was public, and the witness accounts seemed pretty consistent. You had Ed Lover on the radio.
Yeah, he was there.
He said flat out, Tru Life confronted Cameron about the mixtapes, hit him, and the cops had to break it up.
And others backed that up, right?
Mm.
Haja, Big Joe.
Thank you.
They confirmed Cam got punched in the eye.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't just rumors.
And the reaction afterwards just cemented it. 50 Cent making jokes like, nobody's seen Cameron since Tru Life punched him.
Yeah, when other major players start clowning you about it publicly, it doesn't matter if Cam's people denied it. The narrative was set. Tru Life got the physical edge.
But then Tru Life tried to spin it, which is fascinating. He went on Power 105.
And basically tried to justify the violence. He said he was tired of Dipset promoting Blood's affiliation and that his actions were like police action.
Police action? Seriously?
Yeah, to like protect hip-hop's integrity or something.
That's quite a justification for punching someone. Framing street beef as some kind of moral crusade.
Yeah.
Masterful spin, in a way.
It really is. Although, interestingly, later on, he kind of backed off confirming it directly. He told XXL magazine he'd just plead the fifth about punching Cameron.
Which is maybe even smarter. He'd already won the narrative battle. By not confirming or denying, he just keeps that tension simmering.
Keeps the mystique, yeah. More effective than bragging, maybe.
Okay, so you got the main guys, Jim Jones and Cameron, both physically challenged and arguably diminished in the street's eyes. What about the rest of the crew, the other soldiers? Jules Santana and Hellrell had very different reactions.
Totally different strategies. Let's talk Jules first. He went for what you might call strategic avoidance. It was actually pretty sophisticated.
Sophisticated avoidance, how so?
Well, the sources mentioned this incident during the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Tru Life and his guys actually caught Jules out.
Okay, and what happened?
They gave him a pass.
A pass? Why?
Because Jules was with his little nephew.
Ah, the street code thing. Okay, so even Tru Life had lines he wouldn't cross. Kids are off limits.
Seems like it. And Jules used that. He immediately started refusing to even say Tru Life's name in interviews, put out videos showing off his chains, proving they weren't stolen.
Right, countering the robbery narrative.
And he basically said he'd never give Tru Life the light, meaning the attention or validation of a direct response. He tried to frame it as being above the fray, more sophisticated, as he put it.
Starve the fire of oxygen, basically. Treat him like he's irrelevant. That makes sense. Hellrell, though. Totally opposite approach.
Yeah, Hellrell went straight for the jugular, lyrically. He dropped freestyles like One Blood and Cockafella, direct counterdisses.
Okay, so he engaged on the mic.
Aggressively. And his main angle of attack was legitimacy. He hit Tru Life where it might hurt institutionally.
Oh.
He kept saying Tru Life wasn't signed to the real Rockefeller, just the Rock La Familia imprint.
Ah, the sub-label.
Right.
That's a deep cut for people who followed the Rock's structure back then. Basically saying Tru Life was JV, not varsity.
Exactly. It was a clever way to attack his backing, his credibility, a really specific targeted insult.
So how did Tru Life respond to Hellrell's disses?
That's a thing he didn't. His strategy was just silence.
Ignored him completely.
Yep. Treated him like a secondary figure, a soldier, not a general. He just refused to engage lyrically with Hellrell at all.
Which, in that kind of comfort, can be more insulting than firing back, right? Just complete dismissal. Makes the other guy look unimportant.
Precisely. It undermined Hellrell's attempt to bring the fight back to the lyrical arena. Tru Life kept it focused on the physical and psychological dominance.
And this wasn't just about the main guys. Tru Life's crew reportedly went after others, too.
Yeah, the campaign was broad. Sources say they robbed a gala, another Dipset affiliate took his Purple City piece. It was about dismantling the whole network, showing nobody was safe.
Man, so the Tru York mixtape really becomes central here. It wasn't just music, it was like evidence, a war document.
Absolutely. A military manifesto, like you said. It was packed with skits reinforcing the narrative. You had the Max B phone call skit dissing Dipset.
And the Running Man skit, which was clearly aimed at, well, implying cowardice.
Right. It documented every alleged victory, every humiliation, and spread that narrative on the streets through the mixtape circuit.
And Dipset did try to hit back digitally, right? Even back then.
Yeah, this is fascinating. They reportedly hacked Tru Life's MySpace page.
MySpace. Wow, throwback.
Right. And they apparently replaced the faces on the Tru York cover Jones in the thong with pictures of Tru Life and Jay-Z.
That's probably one of the earliest examples of hacking being used in a hip-hop beef.
Definitely documented as one of the first major instances. Shows how beefs were already adapting to new tech, even before social media really exploded.
And we got to remember the whole backdrop. Tru Life is Jay-Z's guy. So part of this is him defending his boss against Cameron, who was constantly dissing Jay.
That context is crucial. It adds another layer to Tru Life's motivations, which makes the ending, the reconciliation, kind of poetic.
Yeah, how did it finally wrap up?
Well, Jim Jones and Tru Life publicly made peace in 2017, and the catalyst, Jones signed a deal with Jay-Z's Roc Nation.
Full circle. Yeah. Business brings everyone back together.
It often does. And Tru Life, he got out of prison in 2016 after serving time on unrelated charges.
Right.
And he basically said he was done with all that old stuff. The rivalries just seemed pointless to him after everything he'd been through.
So looking back at this whole saga, this deep dive, what's the main takeaway about that era of New York hip-hop?
I think the legacy is pretty clear. Tru Life fundamentally exposed the vulnerability that came with rap stardom back then.
How so?
He proved that in mid-2000s New York, street credibility, strategic physical action, and just sheer ruthlessness could genuinely challenge and maybe even overcome lyrical skill or massive fame and money.
Yeah, he showed that having hit records and expensive chains made you a target, not untouchable.
Exactly. He showed that determined, focused opposition could really shake the hierarchy.
And it was that systematic approach, right?
Yeah.
Going after everyone from Jim and Cam down to the affiliates. That's what created the fear, that Puerto Rican boogeyman rep. He wasn't just feuding, he was running an operation.
A truly unique situation in hip-hop history, the scale of it.
Which leaves us with something to think about, maybe a final question for you listening.
Yeah.
If Tru Life achieved this total street dominance, this legendary status in the beef, but his own music career was effectively derailed, partly by the beef and then obviously by his incarceration. Does that make this whole campaign a victory in terms of narrative and street rep? Or is it ultimately a cautionary tale about how real-world conflict can destroy the very thing it's happening within the music business?
That's a heavy question. Victory or cautionary tale?
Yeah.
Depends on what you value more, I guess. Street legend status or a sustainable career?
Something to definitely mull over. All right, that's our time for this deep dive. Thanks for tuning in.
Catch you on the next one.